Good morning. Hello, how are y'all? We're so excited about convention. We will see you guys next week, and we just wanted to drop some best tips that we have learned through experience over the years so that you get the absolute most out of your experience. So I'm Brittany, this is Christina. We're your diamonds, and we're here to add value to you this morning.
At 6:30 a.m., which
Yes.
we've been up talking about for almost an hour.
Yes. So we got some tips for you. All right. So first thing is what to do if you are lucky enough to get stuck in an elevator with a jewel or any other situation where you may have an opportunity to talk to a jewel or a diamond for 30 seconds. Okay. You want to be prepared with a couple of really good questions in your back pocket that you can pull out. Okay. And ask, because the purpose of going to convention is to learn and grow. And we're going to expand our success mindset. And so the way to do that is by asking people who are a step ahead of you how they think about things or how they live their life. So one question that you could ask is, hey, we're learning about habits on our team lately. What is your best habit? Or what's your morning routine like? That's a good question. Or you could ask, what's the most recent obstacle you've had to overcome, and how did you think about that obstacle?
So this is really important because it's for these little nuggets of conversations that some of my richest friendships with other jewels have come about. I get to be friends with people like Sarah Marble because of an encounter in an elevator. I wasn't as prepared as you're going to be, but I was in an elevator with Sarah Marble and I knew I wanted to make an impression. I wanted to have a friendship down the road. Jill Renfro, same thing. So these jewels that you are asking questions to, you never know when they're going to be in full-blown momentum and you'll have cultivated a friendship there. Because listen, if you ask them questions like this, they are going to respect you and you will stand out. There's a real difference in someone asking these questions. What are your habits? What's your best morning routine? What's the most recent obstacle you overcame? And how did you think about it to overcome? Because that's what we want to do. We want to think like leaders. You're going to stand out way more than someone else who asks a different, more basic question. They will respect you a ton.
True.
So be armed with this. I'm thinking if I'm in an elevator with someone at convention this week and they have the wherewithal to ask me these kind of questions, I'm going to turn around and ask them who their upline is. And I'm going to figure out how to be friends with that upline because it means they're raising leaders.
I love that too. I totally would remember somebody who asked me good questions like that. I would remember their face. I wouldn't forget. So it would make an impression. Okay, next thing. You need to show up at convention as a person who adds value. And when I first heard that phrase adds value, felt vague to me. I was just like, add value. What does that even mean? How do you do that? So we're going to give you some practical things you can do to make sure that you are a person who adds value. Here's the thing about people who add value is that they do it intentionally. People who add value do it on purpose. They're aware of it. They're conscious of it. They intentionally do it. So if you are not intentionally adding value, then by default, you're likely unintentionally subtracting value. So we're going to give you some tips on what you can do to be aware, conscious, and intentional about adding value to every person that you come into contact with. All right. So the first thing is you want to focus on topics of growth. You should be living out of vision versus memory lane. Okay. So think about what you're thinking about, and then think about the things that are coming out of your mouth. Most of the things that are actually coming out of your mouth should be focused on what you love and like versus what you don't love or what you don't like. Like, you shouldn't be complaining about anything. Successful people see an opportunity even in problems. Unsuccessful people see problems in every opportunity. Okay. So for example, standing in line, if it's a long line, expect there to be lines. When you're at the bathroom, there's going to be lines. We're talking about thousands of people in one building. When you're at your Plexus experience, there's going to be lines. Okay. there's thousands of people in one place. So expect that. But while you're standing in line, that's an opportunity. If you are a person who's adding value, it's an opportunity. If you're unintentionally subtracting value, you're going to be annoyed and you're going to complain that the line is long, etc. Okay, see the difference there? So you should be focused on topics of growth.
Let me add a caveat. This applies even in line with your own team members. Sometimes comfort or proximity brings comfort, and you'll be in line with people on Freedom Team and you'll think it's okay to say things like, I cannot believe this line is so long. Why don't they have more people working? Guys, you have a responsibility, especially to your team and to your sidelines. We're entrusting each of you to each other. And so this isn't an opportunity where you get to let your hair down and not be intentional. It's work to be intentional. And this is something I've had to learn over the years, that the highest responsibility comes when you're with your own team and with your own sidelines. So just know this applies all the way around.
So Christina and I are even like this with each other. Okay, just so y'all know, we hold each other to the same standard. We are best friends because we know that we can expect the other one to add value. And we don't allow the other to get in a place of negativity, because we have to protect our own mindsets too. And because we love each other, we will hold each other accountable to that same exact standard. We don't allow ourselves to get into a place and think, oh, this is where we can just let our hair down and say what we really think. We have a responsibility to each other to add value to each other all the time. Now, does that mean that you're not allowed to talk about problems? Absolutely not. We have problems. As a matter of fact, Christine and I, when we talk, most of the time we're solving problems. But that's the difference, is that we're intentionally solving a problem. We're not sitting around complaining about a problem. We are intentionally finding ways to solve a problem.
So here's what you do. If you do happen to be in line with someone and they have not been taught this and they say something that you would perceive as negative, here's the antidote to that. What can you do to start solving that? Like, you get them to focus the conversation, not on where they've been or what they don't like or how that's going, but what can you do today to start changing that? How can you change what you're thinking about in this situation? So that's how you can be armed against that. Okay.
So when somebody walks away from you, they should feel lighter, not heavier. And that applies to whether it's your upline, your sideline, your downline, perfect stranger, doesn't matter. People should feel lighter, not heavier. Example, if you are in line for food at some restaurant, and you're looking at the food and you look at the person behind you and you're like, this looks delicious, doesn't it? That adds value. Or you could complain and say, oh, they need to clean this. What do you think that you are getting the person that you're talking to focus on? Which one adds value? Which one subtracts? When that person walks away from that interaction with you, will they feel lighter or heavier? Okay, so just be aware of that. All right. Another way you can do this is focus on what you love or who you loved in the training or whatever, or who you talked to, whatever. Focus on what you love. When you're tempted to say something that you don't like, flip it to what you do like instead. Train your mind to focus on what you loved instead of what you don't love, because what you focus on is going to expand.
Yep. All right. Come open-minded. There are 4 words that will stop growth every time. When you think, I already knew that. And no matter what it is, if somebody gets up and talks about send, share, invite and recruiting, and you happen to be a top recruiter, sometimes you're going to have to fight the urge to think, I already know this, and tune out. It's when you want to pick up your phone, you want to start doing IPA. Ask me how I know. Brittany had to tell me one time at that convention to put my phone down. Not even kidding. I was so excited about what was happening. I was ready to work. And she's like, not the time. So be open-minded. Even if you already are good at a topic or a subject, remember, you're only as good as your team is excellent. And there's probably something that you don't know yet, or some way that you don't know how to communicate what you do know to your team. And this could be the answer there. So come open-minded. You can learn anything from anybody. You just never know what nuggets that they're going to have. So be open-minded.
And it could be one nugget that changes things for you.
Mm-hmm.
Could be one thing.
Not to mention, picking up that phone is subtracting value. Just know, even if You, for whatever reason, don't need to hear what they're saying. You picking up your phone and starting IPA is giving people around you permission to also disconnect their brain. You could be robbing them from a nugget that could change everything in their business. You might be a top recruiter, but Sally next to you may not be. And you've distracted her because now she's thinking, oh yeah, I need to check my messages too. Oh yeah, like it. So just know that's another way that you can add value by being focused, acting
Yeah.
like a student from start to finish.
There's a time to work and there's a time to invest in yourself and in your business. An investment in yourself is an investment in your business. It's going to make your work more effective. This is the time to invest. This is the time to learn. This is not the time to be on your phone during the sessions. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is be intentional about plugging yourself in. So just so you know, everybody feels just as awkward as you do. Everybody. Me and Christina included. Okay. Like it's uncomfortable for us too to be around a bunch of people that we don't know. Okay. So you need to get out of your comfort zone, because just know that if you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody, or like struggling with imposter syndrome, like I don't belong here, or worse, comparison, like those people are better than me, or I'm not as good as them, or I don't know what value I add, or I don't know what I'm doing here. Like you got all these thoughts about yourself going in your mind. Just know the person next to you has the same thoughts. Okay. So don't assume that just because somebody appears to be confident or just like they're comfortable, don't assume that they're not struggling with their inner thoughts exactly the way you are. Okay, so you can be a person who adds value by not letting those thoughts hold you back from getting the connection that your soul craves. This is also a time to connect with people, and you have to be the initiator. Don't expect, especially if you're new there, don't expect everybody to extend an open hand to you, although you should. People should be doing that. Don't have that expectation. What you should expect is to be the initiator. You reach your hand out first. You introduce yourself. You go sit next to somebody and you start a conversation.
Yep. Absolutely. Y'all, I just reiterating what she said. Everybody has these same insecure thoughts. Doesn't matter the level of success, doesn't matter the personality. You guys look at me and think I'm a total extrovert. Brittany gets to hear my inner thoughts like, oh my gosh, we all struggle with them, all of us. And so John Maxwell says it best when he says, you'd be much less concerned about whatever other people were thinking about you if you knew how rarely they did. And it's because they're also focused on how they're thinking and feeling. And so you could be the warmth to someone that you are looking for, and you might just be surprised at how often it's returned if you'll initiate. So plug yourself in, message some of your sidelines if you need a seat, or you need some, okay, where are y'all sitting? Don't assume because you haven't heard anything that you're not invited. Like that's not a growth mindset solution. Just think, hey, where are they? Let me go find them. Let me initiate this. Hey guys, what are y'all doing for lunch? Hey guys, do you have space for one more? Hey guys, just put yourself out there.
Yes, put yourself out there. Do it intentionally. And don't let the insecure thoughts or the imposter syndrome rob you of the connection that you need. We all need community, but just know that you need to take ownership of that need, and don't expect somebody else to fill that need without ever having been communicated. Be the initiator. Put your pride down. Be the initiator. Yep. Okay. Get ahead of comparison. So comparison is going to come up. You're going to look at the next person that appears to be a step ahead of you, or the next rank, or whatever, or their team is that you're going to compare what you think their team is like versus yours, or what you think their business is like, or what you think their personal life is like. You're going to compare. Okay. This is a normal human response for every single person. So just be aware of it and don't do it. Like, don't think that somebody else is better than you based off of appearances. The best thing you can do is learn from someone that you think is a step ahead of you. Ask them good questions like the ones we already gave you.
Yep. You have a choice when someone is a step ahead of you. Comparison in a healthy manner will inspire you. It should tell you they got there, so can I. So anytime you're faced with this, you have a choice. I can either be inspired or discouraged by someone else's results. And I have always. I'm telling you, I don't struggle with comparison a lot because I was taught very early on to look for the inspiration there. Look for the inspiration there. Everything is figure outable. How did they do that? That's what I'm looking at someone ahead of me and thinking. And listen, there's lots of star diamonds way ahead of me. And I could sit over here and say, oh man, I wish I was them. Instead, I'm thinking, how did she build that? Jessica Heffley, how did you build that? Like, tell me, if you could look back now when you were a 2-star diamond, what would you tell yourself as a 2-star? I want to know how to build what you've got. And so asking questions like that, that's how you get ahead of comparison, and being aware of your own strength. What can you bring to the situation? If you can't think of a strength you've got a week to go take a strength finders test, hone in on one good strength that you have, and then be prepared to show that, be prepared to give that away.
Yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy. And so I think one thing that helps with it is, like you said, Christina, being confident in who God made you to be. Like he gave you specific strengths, talents, gifts that only you have in different abilities. Okay. And so you need to embrace that and focus on that, because what you focus on expands. And if you are focused on what your strengths are and honing in on those things, then it does fuel confidence versus comparison. Okay. Don't be envious of another person's gifts or how someone else appears to have. Everybody got struggles. Okay. Everybody has problems. They say if we all threw our problems in a pile in the middle of the room and we saw everybody else's, we'd run real quick and go grab ours back. So just don't fall into comparison, because comparison will rob you of joy and peace, and it can halt your progress and your action. Okay. So just be thankful for what God gave you, and don't let it rob you of future success. All right. Next thing is take pictures. This is important. You want to be intentional about taking pictures with as many people as you can. Selfies one-on-one are really, really good. Take as many of those as you can. Group pictures are also great, but this is important for your content in the future, because when you get home, if you have a picture with somebody, even if it's a stranger and you just met them, you can friend each other on Facebook or whatever, but you will have content to share for the future. You can share that person's story. If you post a picture of yourself with that person and then share their testimonial, it just adds validity to what you're saying. Like, it's like, hey, this is a real person. It's not just some random person that I pulled out of thin air. This is an actual human. Here's their story. I know them. Like, here they are, and here's a picture of me with them. So it just adds credibility to when you share testimonials in the future.
And you're not going to meet a person there who is annoyed by you asking for a picture. It is extremely flattering when someone says, basically what they're saying is, hey, you've added value to me in this interaction here, or in our past interaction or whatever. Can I capture that? Can I capture a memory of that? You're not going to meet a jewel or a diamond or a silver or a gold or a ruby who is going to be bothered by saying, hey, you've added value and I'd like to remember this.
Mm-hmm. And it's totally normal in this environment, just so you know.
Totally
Normal. Everybody has this expectation. Everybody understands social media is important. It's how we grow a business. It's how we make a paycheck. So it's totally normal and not weird or taboo to ask any person for a picture with them. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. How to not accidentally subtract value. So we talked about earlier how if you are a person who adds value, you're doing it intentionally. So if you're not intentionally doing it, then you're by default subtracting. Okay. So here are some things that, without even realizing it, could be subtracting value from people around you. First thing is complaining. That always subtracts value. Think about this. Have you ever enjoyed hearing anybody complain? No, it fixes nothing. And it's just like, it doesn't add value to anybody. It subtracts. Nobody likes to hear it. Negative observations. So we already addressed that one. Successful people see opportunities in every problem. So just remember that. The other one is, don't be a distraction. Be quiet in the training and be courteous of those around you. Everybody there paid money to get there. Let them get what they came for. They either paid money for a flight or gas or whatever. They are paid money for their convention ticket, for lodging, for food while they're there. Everybody is sacrificing to be in this room. So please be courteous of other people. Don't be laughing and snickering or talking during a training so that you are distracting people around you. Don't be that person that people have to turn around and be like, shh. Because guys, that puts the other person in an awkward position, and it's frustrating to even have to ask somebody to please be quiet so that you can get what you came for. Just don't be that person, y'all.
Yes, don't. And listen, they'll know you're on our team. So don't embarrass them. Be quiet. Also, be on time. Y'all listen, it's a giant convention center, thousands and thousands of people. You can't plan to be there at 8:58 for a session that starts at 9. It's just not going to work. So 15 minutes before session time is when I would plan to be at the convention room, not the center, the room. 15 minutes. It's a lot of people. You're going to want to find a buddy or two to sit with. So be on time. It's extremely distracting when you have to step over 18 people while the session is in session. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. I just need to get to that seat right there. That's distracting. It's annoying. And it's rude to the people that are on stage who have been prepping weeks and weeks and weeks to prepare content that's going to be valuable for you. So be on time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely no gossiping. I mean, this should just go without saying. Okay. Gossiping definitely subtracts value big time. Don't do it. Zero tolerance. Drama kills paychecks. Okay. So when you're tempted to say something negative about somebody, don't. Keep it to yourself. It doesn't matter who you're with. Absolutely no gossiping. We want to be a team who lifts each other up. And this is one thing we hear from people all the time is I've never been around a community of people who really encourage each other and lift one another up and cheer each other on. Let's keep it that way, guys. The reason why we are that community is because of this right here. We're not trying to gossip about each other or tear one another down. We want to intentionally build one another up. Everybody's got struggles. Everybody needs encouragement. Everybody needs somebody in their life who will focus on their strengths. Be that person for people. Yep. Don't gossip. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Not having too high of expectations from your leader. Guys, if you have a jewel upline there, first of all, be grateful because your jewel has led by example, has led the way, because of that person's hard work and vision. You have an opportunity before you. And the thing about when you have a jewel team and you're at a setting like this where there's a lot of people from your team who would like to talk to you or like to connect with you, but there's only one of you, just know that you just need to extend grace to your upline, okay? Because they're human too. They have limitations. They only have so much brain space or time in the day or whatever. They're going to want to connect with every person on their team, but just know they probably won't have a lot of time to spend with every person on their team when there's a lot of people from their team there, but only one of them. So just make sure that you're intentional about connecting with sidelines or other people, and know that your upline definitely is grateful that you are there, but just have proper expectations in that regard.
Yeah. Benefit of the doubt goes a long way here. Again, if I'm at an event and Brittany is busy and she is adding value and all of that, I can choose to think, oh my gosh, look, she is a leader who adds value. I could choose all of these thoughts. What I don't need to choose is she must not care that I'm here. Here's the thing. You need to care enough about your own results and your own future and your own business that's reason enough why you attended. That's why you're there. You're not there to win the admiration of your jewel. You're there because you want to build this thing and you want to grow and learn. So benefit of the doubt. Always when you can, really in life, give folks the benefit of the doubt. They're not intentionally hoping to hurt your feelings. They're doing the best that they can. Remember all those insecure thoughts we told you every single person struggles with and all their own limitations and all their own fears? We have them still, probably amplified. And so just know we're stretching ourselves. We're doing the very best we know how to do. We already will go back to the room at night and think of things that we could have done better, whatever. We don't really need y'all to be thinking about we could have done better too. We do it enough. We are harder on ourselves, I promise.
Yeah. All right. So bottom line, guys, what you focus on expands. And you know what we mean by that, right? Like if you buy a new car, let's just say you bought a red Kia. Suddenly you're going to ride down the road and you're going to notice every single red Kia on the road. Does that mean that before you bought the red Kia, nobody else had one? No. It just means that now that's what you're focused on. So that's what you see more of. The same will hold true at convention. What are you looking for to get out of this experience? You will get it. So you need to determine right now what you're looking for. What you should be looking for from this experience is growth and learning from the trainings, expanding your own success mindset, rubbing shoulders with other people who are like minded, community connection, lots of pictures that you can use for social media in the coming months. That's what you should be looking for. If that's what you're looking for, that is what you will get.
Yeah, and inspiration. Be looking for that. You can find inspiration anywhere. You really can. And I'm telling you, it never fails. There's always a moment or two at every single convention where either Brittany looks over at me and my eyes are sweating, or I look over at hers and hers are like really pouring, because you can be inspired anywhere. And there is ways to find gratitude and hope for the future in every person's story. To me, convention just is hope. I've seen it get bigger and bigger and bigger. They'll show pictures from like first, second, third conventions, and you're just like, man, imagine where we will be in 10 years. If we've come this far, imagine where we will be. And that fills me with so much hope, because what that hope gives me is what I can offer others. Like, oh my gosh, it fuels my boldness to come back and share the opportunity with other people, because I know where we're going. And so just expect there to be those moments where literally your breath is taken away. Like, oh my gosh, what could this mean for our future? So
we're so excited. We can't wait
so
to see you all at convention. So excited about team dinner. So excited about what we're going to learn, how we're going to grow together. Can't wait for you to come. Thank you all for making the investment to be there. We understand it involves sacrifice. It does for us too, but we're excited about it. Can't wait. See y'all next week. Bye.